Hello and welcome to How to Play Backgammon. This is a continuing series on how to play backgammon. If you haven't watched the first few videos in this series, I strongly suggest you go back and learn the basic rules. In this particular video, I'm going to talk about best opening moves. Much like chess, when you're starting a game of backgammon, there are a finite number of rolls and therefore a finite number of moves. And I want to talk about what are the best opening moves. So in this case, we are set up. We are the whites. And I want to talk about starting with combinations of moves, because when you play this game, you need to know the good moves up front that are the best combinations. So the best combinations, I'm just going to jump in right away, are things that allow you to move and set up new points somewhere along the board. That is, you're able to put two pieces together and move them so that they leave nothing open and that they close the board. So the first series of great opening moves is this. The series that lets you put a 2 here that starts your defensive game. So if you got a 3 and a 1, you rolled a 3, your opponent rolled a 1, you could do that. 1, 2, 3, and 1. What this has done is this has given you already starting to close in your board. You're starting to make your opponent, making it more difficult for him to get out. So 3 and a 1 is a great opening move if you can get it. And let's just go through that. So if you can do a 3 and a 1, then you can also do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2. Another great opening move in that it creates a hurdle for your opponent to get their two pieces out. Along those same lines, we can do a 5 and a 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and move this one 3. 1, 2, 3. And along those same lines, we could also do a 6 and a 4. So that would be, oops, put that there. So 6 would be here from this 1, 6 to here, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All of those are great moves, and all of them really should memorize. A 3 and a 1, a 5 and a 2, a 4 and a 2, 5 and a 3, 6 and a 4. They block these. And now let's also get into this one, because there's a great move, a 6 and a 1, which is also one of the best opening moves you can get. It allows you to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and move this 1. And now you've actually created quite a threat for your opponent to get their pieces out, because you've already got these 3 here blocked. So those are some of the best opening moves to play with. Here's a few other great opening moves. A 6 and a 5. You roll a 6, your opponent rolls a 5, you go first. Now we'll start to deal with the ones up here. You can move this 6, and then you can move it another 5. What I like about this particular move is that it allowed you to get one entire piece out and back to safety. Some people will tell you that perhaps a 6 and a 4 is a good move. I disagree, because you're leaving one exposed. I think a 6 and a 4 would be better to be moved down here. Now those are the combinations that allow us to move pieces around safely. But there's other combinations that are not great, but still the best opening moves. And I just want to get into that right now. Sometimes you might get a 5 and a 2, and in which case really moving this guy here 5 and then moving him another 2 is your best bet. Okay, where did you guys go? Okay, let's get into bad moves. Let's say you got a 1 and a 2. You don't want to move these pieces 1 and a 2, because all you're doing is you're going to be forced to expose something. You can move this 1, you can move this 2. You're going to wind up leaving pieces on the board that are exposed. And so whenever you're in a situation like that, you always want to try to minimize where the exposure is going to be and try to keep it up here. These pieces, because if you get a piece off, it has to start back up here anyways, because you're working around the board. So to me, a 1 and a 2 is here. To me, a 2 and a 3, if you got a 2 and a 3, for example, you'd go 2 and you'd go 3. I'm a fan of just keeping your open pieces here, and that's the best you can do. Now sometimes you get in other situations where you have a 6 and a 2, and you're going to have to move one piece farther than the other. Well, at this part of the game, I would say that a 6 whenever you have to make, you're going to have to expose something like a 6 and a 2 or a 6 and a 3. You always want to take that as your 6. And some people think to take this as the 2. I disagree. I always think you're better off taking that as the 6 and a 2, or a 6 and a 3 would be 6 and then an additional 3. And like I said before, if you had a 6 and a 4, I recommend doing this here. A 6 and a 5, I recommend doing that there. Because doubles are not your first roll, because if you and your opponent each rolled a 6, you'd have to re-roll. Doubles are not really something that you consider as an opening move. Now that said, if your opponent does their move and now it's your turn, most of these rolls the opening moves I'm talking about are still good, even if you weren't the first person to move, but maybe the second person to move. Because if the opponent has moved something up here, that doesn't stop you from maybe still being able to do one of these moves. And in that respect, if you're the second one to go and you roll doubles, you can actually take doubles. So let's talk about what some of the best doubles are. In my opinion, if you get double ones, moving these 2 down is great. I do not recommend moving 2 of these 1s because it just leaves an exposed 1. This obviously can't move. And then I would move these 1. To me, that's your best double 1s out there. Double 2s, I would suggest the same thing. Move these 2 because this starts a defensive game, and then I would also suggest moving these 2. And that's because you're working a defensive game here by blocking this, and an offensive game here by starting to get your pieces closer to getting them out. And this is before your opponent is able to start creating barriers for you. Double 3s is interesting to me because some people will tell you a great double 3s is to move these 2 out here. Basically 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, doubles. And that really opens you up. Other people, and that's a great offensive opening move. Other people will tell you that a great double 3s would be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, whoops, not that. Move here, and then the other one here, which is a great defensive move. So to me, I don't think there's an advantage to one or the other. Double 4s I really like because you actually could move these 2 right up against this, and then you could move 2 down here, thus getting these almost out, and then creating more ammunition to start creating points here to really block your opponent. And double 4 is one of my favorite doubles early in the game. Double 5s is difficult because this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can't actually move these. And if you want to move this, that's fine, but ultimately you're not really spreading yourself out, you're just opening them up more. And you can't move this one here because look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you really are stuck with either moving this, stacking them here, or this, stacking them here. So I actually suggest moving on double 5s, moving 2 here, and then continuing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and creating that. That leaves us with double 6s. Well, double 6s, of course, is the highest you could get. And much like double 3s, it allows you to do both of those moves. So I would go 1, 6, 2, 6, 3, 6, and 4, 6. So you've gotten your men out, and you've already created a defensive move. I think I've actually gone through almost every combination you could get on an opening move. Please watch my other videos on ending the game, on using the doubling cube, and also where I just walk through some games and give you a good sense of how to play this. I hope you enjoyed it. Please come back.